Alright, so yesterday I was watching the Pokemon Presents video presentation, and when they got to the Pokemon GO section, I found something that was very interesting. It looks like Niantic is teasing the release of the Paldean Starter Pokemon, and yeah, I found this to be very strange because it seems like they're completely skipping over Galar and jumping right into Paldea. And to be honest with you, I really don't know how I feel about that because there's a lot of Pokemon that still need to be released in Pokemon GO from previous generations in different regions. And yeah, I really do not understand what's going on here, but I have a couple of theories and I'm going to get into that in this video. Alright, so let's jump right into it. Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon GO discussion video. Okay, so we gotta talk about Pokemon Presents because yesterday during the Pokemon GO section of that presentation, we got a couple of teases for upcoming Pokemon that is really getting a lot of people scratching their heads. Of course, during that presentation, they did a big tease for Pokemon Go Fest, which totally makes sense because that is the next big thing happening in Pokemon Go. There's not necessarily anything else that's really exciting that's on the horizon. It's really going to be all about Pokemon Go Fest right now. Of course, we've already had Pokemon Go Fest in Osaka and London, but we have New York City as well as the global event coming, and that is something that they specifically talked about. They wanted to get that out there and get it on people's radars, and that totally makes sense. But after they talked about Pokemon Go Fest, they brought a teaser for some upcoming Pokemon, and once I watched this, I was really confused because it looks like they were teasing the release of the Paldean starters. And that was really strange to me because we still don't have any Pokemon from Galar in Pokemon Go. I mean, sure, we do have some Galarian legendaries, most notably Zamazenta and Zacian, and we also have a couple of Galarian regional variants as well. But yeah, we don't have the Galarian starters in Pokemon Go. So I find it very strange that they're completely skipping over Galar and jumping right into Paldea. The other thing is, we're still missing a lot of Pokemon from the Alolan region and a couple of regional variants from the Hisuian region, which is of course tied to the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which, mind you, was almost a year ago. And yeah, a lot of the Hisuian variants, they're a bit outdated at this point. Like, where is Hisuian Goodra? That is a Pokemon that was teased quite a while back, and we still don't have it in the game. I mean, I kind of predict that Hisuian Goodra is something that they're going to be saving in the future for some sort of Gumi event, or maybe even Gumi Community Day. But regardless, I'm a bit confused because there's still a lot of Pokemon that Niantic needs to release, and I just feel like it's way too soon for them to release the Paldean regional Pokemon. Now, I have a couple of theories why we have Paldean Pokemon getting teased for Pokemon Go. More specifically, I think it has to do with Nintendo and the Pokémon Company. Right now, they're doing a huge push for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. More specifically, it looks like there's going to be a DLC expansion pack for Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet that's going to be around Area Zero. And yeah, that's pretty exciting because there's a lot of cool stuff being released with that, like some Paradox Pokemon that are very interesting, but I just feel like just using Pokemon Go for cross-promotion, it's not necessarily going to help Pokemon Go. It's mainly for those other games. And I totally get it. It's a business decision, right? Like, I'm pretty sure we're getting Paldean Pokemon before Galarian Pokemon, as well as the Hisuian variants, and a couple of those Alolan Pokemon that still haven't made it into the game, because the Pokemon Company wants to use Pokemon Go to promote their other Pokemon games. Totally makes sense to me, but I still feel like it's weird, and it's just not necessarily something that's overall good for Pokemon Go. Because right now, there's a lot of Pokemon that people want in Pokemon Go, but we're getting them delayed because we're getting a whole bunch of Pokemon from other regions and future releases, and I don't know how I feel about that, because I would have expected that they would release Galarian Pokemon before they jump into Paldea, more specifically the starters. Like, it's weird that we're getting the Paldean starters before the Galarian starters. And to be honest with you, I don't know what that's going to do for Pokemon Go from a gameplay point of view. Like, how is that going to affect community days? It looks like Niantic is going back to the pattern of including starters for community days, but how is that going to work if we do not have the Galarian starters before the Paldean starters? Like, are they going to have community days for the Paldean region starters before they do the Galarian region starters? I really do not know, but I just found this all to be very interesting because, like I said, Niantic is completely skipping over entire regions now. I do think it's because of the Pokemon Company, but maybe it's because the Niantic devs and the higher-ups are just not on the same page. But regardless, these are just my speculations and theories regarding all of this, and yeah, I don't necessarily know how it's going to affect Pokemon GO as a whole. Maybe it's going to be a good thing. Maybe the Paldean Region starters are actually going to generate hype for Pokemon GO. Maybe it's going to draw a lot of players who are doing the console games into Pokemon GO. I really can't tell how it's going to pan out, but I'm very curious to see how it's all going to. But in any case, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to quickly touch base regarding this tease because I really do think it's worth a discussion. Like, I really don't think the Pokemon GO community is actively thinking about how Niantic is releasing their Pokemon, but yeah, maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily going to be good for players who are just extremely OCD and they would want to complete certain regions before jumping on to the next. Yeah, that's never going to happen with how Niantic has released Pokemon. It took several years before we got Kecleon, for example. So, you know, this is just how Niantic has been, and yeah, it's just something we have to accept as players. But anyway, leave your thoughts regarding all of this in the comment section down below. I'm really curious to see what the Pokemon GO community is thinking regarding this tease. Are you really excited for the release of the Paldean starters, and probably more Paldean Pokemon, presumably? Or do you feel like they should have released Pokemon from the Galarian region first? Let me know those thoughts down below, and let's have a great discussion. And yeah, thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You all make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon GO, like with remote raids or the friendship system, then do consider becoming a patron on Patreon. And of course, if you want to support my channel non-monetarily, you can check me out on social media on the following platforms. My handle is @Jinsula on all of them. Yeah, definitely go and check that out. Alright, so that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.